thank you, Magic Bricks. We can't thank you enough for doing all that you are.
A mega Magic Bricks now impact. Parents of a Belandur preschool record their statement in front of the magistrate. This comes after we cornered the government to take action after over 40 toddlers were molested in the preschool. Big win for Magic Bricks now, and citizens who stood strong fighting the VVIP Steel Flyover purge. Karnataka Government scraps the project. Magic Bricks now exclusive insider scoop. Shiv Sena all set to snub Saffron sibling the BJP in the BMC mayoral elections. Sena tells us they do not need any help to take charge of the BMC. And housing approvals within 60 days to be a reality in Mumbai and Delhi soon. Urban Development Minister Venkaiah Naidu says move will now ensure authorities will have no room for excuses. You're watching The Big Story. A big shout out to Mumbaikars. Mumbai threw up a fractured mandate for the BMC but has voted as one for Magic Bricks. Now, big thank you, Mumbai, for making this your channel of choice in the crucial BMC election week. Straight up to this top story that we're tracking here on Magic Bricks Now. Mega Magic Bricks Now impact. A big win for all the citizens of Bengaluru. The Karnataka government has finally bowed down to public opinion and has decided to scrap the controversial VVIP Steel Flyover project. This move comes in the backdrop of allegations that kickbacks from this project have been paid to the Congress High Command and Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah's family. Steel Flyover, since the time it was conceived, has been mired in controversy as the 1761 crore rupee project was allegedly proposed to benefit a handful of VVIPs and would have resulted in cutting of over 812 trees. Shrija, who's been tracking this story, gets us more details.
A huge victory for the citizens of Bengaluru and a major setback for the Congress-ruled Karnataka government. Finally, the Karnataka government has decided to scrap the controversial Steel Flyover project. In fact, this decision comes right after B.S. Yediyurappa, the BJP state president, had made a mention that a diary was discovered at Congress MLC Govindaraj's house when IT sleuths conducted a raid. In fact, this particular book, the diary had a mention that about 65 crores was paid to Karnataka CM Siddaramaiah to facilitate this particular project. However, the Congress leaders have denied any such allegations. In fact, what we know is that KJ George, the Bengaluru Development Minister, in fact, expressed disappointment over the controversial project getting scrapped. Also, in fact, what we need to remember is that this particular flyover was supposed to start from Chalukya Circle and end at Hebbal flyover. In fact, this particular flyover ran into 6.7 kilometers at a cost of rupees 1,791 crores, and it ran into trouble because chief reason being that the Bengaluru Development Authority did not consult citizens, as well as it included felling of 812 trees. Now, this very recent new development of the steel flyover being scrapped has definitely come as a has brought cheers to green activists here in the city. In Bengaluru, Shrija for Magic Bricks Now.
Steel flyover project scrapped by the Karnataka government there. In fact, we're joined in by Rajya Sabha MP Rajiv Chandrasekhar on the phone line. Mr. Chandrasekhar, thank you so much for joining us here on Magic Bricks Now. First of all, tell us, this is a big, big win for citizens of Bengaluru.
Oh, absolutely. I think this is this demonstrates the power of citizen activism. This demonstrates that finally governments cannot spend public money by ignoring the citizens that this money is supposed to serve. There had been, as your reporter rightly mentioned, there had been absolutely a sham of a public consultation. There had been no public consultation for this huge project, such a disruptive project, and there was absolutely no environment impact assessment done. And there was this unholy rush to get this project done, they pushed through with, despite the fact that scores and thousands of citizens had come out to protest this. There was not an attempt or effort to enter into a dialogue with these citizen groups and have a real positive engagement to explain this project. So I think that, and the fact that there were these revelations of a diary that contains these entries of a bride, essentially, was the last nail in the coffin of this steel flyover.
Mr. Chandrasekhar, before I let you go, very quickly tell me this. What is your response to KJ George's statement saying that this will only hamper development of Bengaluru, and he specifically named you? Also, the blame game has begun now.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest ironies of this whole episode is the Bangalore minister, who's a real estate tycoon, trying to pretend that he was in favor of development of the city. If you look at all of the history of scams and controversies that the Congress has embroiled itself in, starting from the 2009-2010 2G scam, their instinct is always to lash out at those who oppose their actions. It is not the first time Vinod Rai got the brunt of it during 2G. I got the brunt of it during 2G scam. So this is par for the course. I don't think anybody takes him very seriously. I don't think this government has very much credibility left. It is on the last leg of their term. And they will say what they have to say. They will do what they have to do. But the people of Bengaluru have spoken. People of Bengaluru have held fast. And they're quite determined that public money will be spent only with citizens' involvement and only to the benefit of the city and the people, not for any extraneous contract or business nexus.
Big win for citizens of Bengaluru indeed. Mr. Chandrasekhar, thank you so much for joining us here on Magic Bricks Now. We're now joined in by Brijesh Kalapa, National Spokesperson of the Congress Party, and Priya Chetty Rajgopal, CXO search consultant and a citizen who's been protesting for the steel flyover, against the steel flyover from day one. In fact, let me first go across to Mr. Kalapa. Tell me this, Mr. Kalapa, why has the government scrapped this project right now? Did the government, buckle under pressure?
No, this is not a question of being pressured, but I think the point is that this was a project originally conceived of by Mr. Rajiv Chandrasekhar's party. And if you know, he has been elected thanks to BJP help, and he's in the NDA. So this project was originally conceptualized by the BJP government way back when they were in power. Now, this project, after having been conceptualized, why was the project actually undertaken? Because it was a steel flyover only for this reason that steel could be fabricated elsewhere, it could be brought to the spot, since there's a huge congestion as it is. So if you're going to take the construct a flyover, and this is, hello?
Please go ahead. Mr. Kalapa, can you hear me?
Yeah, okay. So the point is that this is the reason why we had a... Yeah, I can hear you. This is the reason why we had a steel flyover originally conceptualized. Otherwise, it could have been a brick and mortar one. It could have been a cement one. Now, the fact that it was steel, naturally, there were a lot of other people who were cement manufacturers, and so they had vested interests. Now, the local contractors, there was a global tender, there were local contractors who were interested in the deal. Now, all these people, they ganged up. Now, we are not going to blame the citizenry. We are not going to say that, look, the citizenry is wrong, because they were misguided. Now, there is local BJP MLA of the region, Mr. Narayan Swamy, is on record to say that this is a big advantage to have the steel flyover. Now, given this kind of a condition, the BJP decided that we are going to stop this flyover, come what may, because the only way that we can stall growth and further progress in the city was by stalling this flyover. Now, I'm not going to say anything about the citizenry who's against this. But the BJP, which originally conceived the project, suddenly decided and did a U-turn, because no political party actually comes in the way of developmental work. Then they started making these absolute allegations, huge allegations. Then the worst was to say that, look, 65 crore, it was obviously a fabrication because one MLC had been raided by the income tax department and the MLC's apparent diary record was released to the press.
So, Mr. Kalapa, are you effectively saying that because of corruption allegations, the government has now scrapped the project?
One minute, let me complete this. No, let me just make my point clear. 65 crore was supposed to have been paid for this deal. Now, the income tax department has not said that this is an original entry, that this diary was found and so on and so forth. Just the BJP has been saying this. Now the whole atmosphere was getting vitiated. Now people like Rajiv Chandrasekhar, who had a, I don't want to say that he was influenced by which lobby, but he certainly had great stakes because he's part of the BJP. Now keeping this in mind, a whole lot of people jumped onto the bandwagon. Now keeping this in mind, why should we risk because Mr. Chandrasekhar's government was there previously, including the Chief Minister, Mr. Yediyurappa. Half the cabinet was in jail. Half the MLAs were in jail. They either were watching porn or they were involved in the acts of corruption and, all this. And for that reason, they were thrown out lock, stock and barrel. Now they were trying to paint us with the same brush by saying that, there was corruption in the deal. Now when an honest person is faced with this allegation, what is he likely to do? The only way is to jettison the project and say that, look, let's retain our reputation. And that's exactly what we have done. We have taken a righteous decision that we are going to jettison this project and we are not going to receive further flack on this subject.
You're effectively saying that because of the corruption allegations, the government has gone ahead and scrapped the project.
No, certainly. Why would we want to bear the charge of corruption against us? Particularly when there is, now there is an allegation that we have taken 65 crore. If there is an allegation that we have taken 65 crore, now BJP must name whom that 65 crore had been paid to, who had paid that 65 crore. What about that person who has lost his 65 crore? Is he not going to come out and speak out? No, these are all allegations which a BJP has made. Now it's time for them to come and make it good. So let them come and make it good.
All right, let me bring in Priya Chetty here. Priya Chetty, whether it is because of the allegations that the government has gone ahead and scrapped all public opinion, keeping that aside, this is a big win for citizens of Bengaluru. You've been campaigning against the controversial Steel Flyover.
Yes, thank you so much. I think without taking away from the inputs of the previous two speakers, I think it's important to just have a moment of reflection, and real thanks to the citizens and perhaps also to the government who have come to this space where the Steel Flyover has been scrapped. It has been 5.5 months of relentless work, and while the immediate causes of scrapping the Steel Flyover or the build-up from the citizens, that is moot, and that's really not so critical right now. What is important is for the city, something that has just been so negative, so valueless, and has absolutely no great impact, in fact has a negative impact, has at least been scrapped. In some way, the city has been saved. But what is very important, at this point, is to be able to understand that the Steel Flyover, I think, is a symbol of the bridge that Bangalore really needs to build with its government. The citizenry needs to build with its government. At the end of it, we have felt excluded. We have felt on the fringes of any decision. Public consultation is a part of any big project. This has been really sad, in terms of how little and how terribly we've been involved. And this affects the city in so many different aspects. So with great grace of thanks for at least that we have reached this far, but let us at least assume that this initiative, which has been going on, and many other initiatives in the past in terms of trying to impact Bangalore, let us hope and be optimistic that this bridge that we have been trying to build from citizens of Bangalore, from all the citizens that have been part of this, is going to impact the city going forward in terms of any development, any growth projects that are going to happen. And this city has to be preserved and has to grow. We have to stop looking at the city as consumers. We have to start looking at the city as citizens. I think the government too has a very strong role to play in the fact that they have to look at the future of the city, not something that needs to be either leveraged or exploited or used up. We have to leave enough for the future. So whether it's trees, whether it's roads, whether it's air, all our indices are going significantly down. Today, for the first time, Bangalore citizens have woken up and understood so many different aspects of their life. Mass transit, the effect of transportation, the fact that the Steel Flyover would not solve a single problem. It's not a development project. It's just an infrastructure project which has no meaning. So many different aspects, whether you look at the Chukubuku Express that has been floated by the CFB, the Trumpet Flyover stop that we've asked for, the Bus Bhagya Beku, this is all for the benefit of the city. So there are things that have grown out of this, which we're very grateful for. And I don't think we need to be prescriptive or we mean to be prescriptive. But there has been phenomenal volunteer energy. And I would not like to take away from whatever the comments have been from the previous two speakers. I think both of them have valid points. This is a note from Citizens for Bangalore of optimism, of gratitude, and of an acknowledgement of an inflection point where Bangalore will go forward with its citizens and its government, and there will be a dialogue going forward. And that's what the citizens of Bangalore are saying to its government. And that is what is coming out today.
Mr. Kalapa, let me bring you in here. The citizen clearly is saying that there could be alternatives to this, flyover. That flyover has been rolled back. You very clearly said that it is because of the corruption allegation. But tell me this, is the government looking at an alternative right now? Because the city of Bangalore still needs to be decongested.
No, the point is that there are several alternatives, and we'll have to pick up one of the several alternatives which are available to us. I can't at this time tell you what are the alternatives the government is thinking of. But the Steel Flyover, because I stay in North Bangalore, was an outstanding project, and despite what this other panelist is saying, I think it was an outstanding project because, like I told you, since it was steel, it would be prefabricated, brought onto site. It could be built with a minimum fuss. It could be carried, and the weight would not be so much that a normal brick and mortar one would be. So, for this reason, the process of construction would be quick, and it would quickly take traffic. Currently, what is happening is that vehicles are stuck on the road for an hour, hour and a half. Now, she just spoke about trees and 800 trees. How much of, service can they do in regard to cleaning up the air? Because when a vehicle is stranded, and when not one, but lakhs of vehicles, because 2 lakh vehicles travel on this intersection on a daily basis. If 2 lakh vehicles are stranded at a particular point and they're all, emitting pollution and smoke, then how much can these 800 trees also do? But if there is quick transit, then this problem could have been solved. And insofar as the 800 trees are concerned, the Chief Minister had already stated that 700 of them would be replanted. So it was just a question of losing 100 trees. Now the same people, I'm not blaming them. Mind you, I'm not blaming the citizenry. They have been misled. But no, they were fully grown trees, but they would be replanted. That's the statement the Chief Minister had made. So there would be about 100 trees lost. But the very same people who are now speaking of trees, where were they when 30,000 trees were cut for the metro? So the point is this, they have chosen selectively, and the fact is that when these allegations of corruption came, why should we have placed the fact that we are a scandal-free government, we are a scam-free government as compared to the previous government, why should we place it on the block? Why should we take the flak for something we have never done? So we decided that we are going to jettison the project entirely, and I'm sure the BJP is going to suffer because of this, because in North Bangalore they're going to be wiped out.
Mr. Kalapa, keeping politics aside, tell me this.
This was a project which was very dear to the people of North Bangalore.
Yes, keeping politics aside, tell me this, at this point in time, the Namma Bengaluru Foundation had come up with a number of solutions and alternatives to decongest the city. And one of the suggestions was a unified metropolitan transport authority. Are you looking at a master plan to decongest the city?
Look, Bengaluru Foundation is, you must understand, it is something which Mr. Rajiv Chandrasekhar runs. So, he just called somebody a real estate tycoon, but I don't know what Mr. Rajiv Chandrasekhar's businesses are. And he has a number of businesses. So, we are not going to be influenced by one businessman's opinion. So, let's take it for granted that there is a lot of work done. We have citizens as well. We have a huge number of, No, citizens are of different varieties. Like I told you,
if I can just
there are different varieties
I would like
of
to just
citizens.
say that
now, we don't want to, I don't want to paint everybody with the same brush.
Yeah.
But there are certain citizens with vested interests also.
Ms. Chetty, please go ahead.
So, that's the reason I'm trying to say that insofar as...
I think it's unfortunate. Would you like me to?
Yes, please go ahead. Please
sorry
go
if I'm interrupting, but if I can just say a few words.
Please
yes.
go ahead. Yeah.
Now, I think it's unfortunate that I think a moment of relative calm or victory for the city is being so dealt with so churlishly. My sincere request to, I think, whatever the points of view are, the citizens are certainly not misguided. I don't think somebody can look at me in the face and say that you're a misguided person. We've spent a lot of time as amateurs, as people who have tried to understand what this project is, and we have gone to a lot of detail to make sure at least we know that this is not going to make an impact. The fact is, if you look at the various aspects of the project, there were bits that were left out. There were issues where it was a roller coaster plan. There were, we don't need to get into this. I think it behoves the government in place right now to be gracious, to accept the fact that citizens have spoken and that they have listened. Let's be graceful about that, and let's be gracious that we are grateful that the government has listened. I believe that the citizens are well-meant, well-intentioned, and reasonably well-informed, and this is a fear for most governments, and I think that is really not right. We earnestly request, and I don't think I want to be, give this large statement, but I think I would earnestly request the representatives of the government to meet us more than halfway. We are really just like the government, a very small microcosm of people, but we really mean the good of the city. Neither are we aligned anywhere, this side or that. We wake up and we see a city that is going down. We're
running out of time. We're running out of time.
So what is the problem?
Tell me very quickly, Ms. Chetty.
Collaborative.
We're running out of time on the show, but tell me very quickly, what are the alternatives that you want the government to consider at this point? Because over time, Bengaluru has come to be known as a city with a lot of traffic.
Yes. Yes. So I could, again, we can't be prescriptive, but I can tell you the Steel Flyover would have lasted for 5 months. In a quick while, we would have had another one on top of it.
So what are the alternatives you propose?
What we need critically is, we need, we can't propose, but we are suggesting, like what any sensible human being would suggest, or organization, that we need very, very focused mass transit. So the commuter rail is something we've been pushing very hard because it's low-hanging fruit. People have been working on it for 15 years. The bus system has to greatly improve. We have to reduce the fares. We have to increase the fleet. We've got a program going called Bus Bhagya Beko, which is halve the fares, double the fleet. Having a rail stop at the Trumpet Flyover so that the rail can stop near the airport, so more people who work at the airport or need to go to the airport can use it. Why is it that these low-hanging fruit cannot be used? That Trumpet Flyover was considered and passed 2014. Why is it hanging fire? What is a will that we need to be able to take this forward? 60,000 people will be off the roads with the Chukubuku Express, with those 3 carriageways that have been assigned. We can't do more? So you're talking about very large numbers that, if the government was genuinely interested, would have focused on 5 years ago and made it happen. These flyovers are band-aids, ugly, impractical,
fair enough, yeah,
non-permanent band-aids. So we need to look at it. We don't have an urban planner. We don't have a transport expert in the BDA as of now, and they're still supposed to be doing all the planning for the city. So we don't have the figures. We don't have the data.
All right, a number of suggestions coming in
At this
there,
point, we
mass
have
transit system
6.62
being one
lakh
of them.
vehicles, which
Mr.
is more
Kalapa,
than
tell
double
me
what
this
Bombay
at this
has.
point in time. You said you're looking at a couple of alternatives. Does this figure in your list?
No, I'm not aware if they figure in our list, but I'm not a representative of the government. I'm a representative of the party, so I have no idea what the government is thinking of. But I can assure you that there have been 9 years of BJP where he was controlled by the BJP. Last year, we have come to occupy power in the BBMP in Karnataka. Now, if people are saying that the city has gone down the drain, then I think they have to blame the BJP for running the BBMP for the last 9 years in an exceptionally bad manner, and that's the reason the city is down in the dumps. One. Two, that after having assumed office, we have done a lot in regard to improvement of roads. Tendershore, for instance, is our creation. Now, there is a judgment of the Bombay High Court which says that it asks the civic authorities in Bombay to have better roads like we do in Bangalore. So even for the city of Bombay, for the High Court of Bombay, the city of Bangalore is some kind of a hallmark in terms of the kind of roads. So we are doing a lot. But the point is, since there were these vested interests which were making all these allegations, we have now jettisoned the project and we are not going to look at this project again. But I can assure you that we are going to do our very best for Bangalore city, and we are going to transform the city. And it has always been the Congress which has done the maximum. Because whenever people speak about a spurt in growth and improvement of quality in Bangalore,
Mr. Kalapa, I'm running out of time. I'm running out of time.
Congress Chief Minister. Similarly, Mr. Siddaramaiah has done a lot for Tendershore.
Okay, fair enough. Points taken. I'm running out of time, but the fact of the matter is that this massive project, VVIP, controversial Steel Flyover project, has been scrapped. It's a big win for citizens of Bengaluru. Perhaps alternatives will be considered by the Congress party in Karnataka, something that we'll keep a close watch on here on Magic Bricks. Now, thank you both for coming in with your views there. It's a wrap on the big story. Thank you for watching. Stay with Magic Bricks now.
You can watch live TV on our website mpnow.in. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/magicbricksnow. And don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at magicbricksnow. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/magicbricksnow.